welcome to the Science Digest Show, brought to you by SMC Consult, So Much for Christ, and also Brainwork Educational Consult, PBM Bread, Professional Bread Makers, Randy Pharmacy located at Medina, and Advocate Healthcare located at Lakeside Estate, opposite the Sweden Ghana Medical Center. We are also supported by Meditouch Physiotherapy, located at Tema, opposite the Women's World Bank in the same complex building with Rabito Clinic. In addition, we are proudly supported and sponsored by EPP Book Services, located on the second floor of the high-rise building opposite the University of Ghana main entrance in the Legon City Mall. Catch them for all your book supplies. Thank you, and welcome to the show. Tonight and today, we have one famous lecturer, an astute one, of course, in Presbyterian Boys Secondary School, going by the name Kwesi Techi Esau York. He's a chemistry teacher and an old student of the school, Infantipum School. But however, they know now that there's only one school, Presec. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, that is a fact.
It's a fact.
It's a fact.
So the Butcher Boy accepts.
No, relax. Okay. It's relative. The school remains the school, but Presec is the school now. So we are both the schools.
Okay.
Yes.
So you are trying to find an numbers this year, right?
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. But you see, by history, as you mentioned in the intro,
1876.
Fancy remains the school. But Presec is a school you cannot, Charlie. You can't. Yeah, no. Hey, Presec is a school.
Thank you.
It's a school, but Fancy is the school.
Presec is a science college.
Thank you.
Science.
I think that will fit.
Science institution.
Very good. That will fit. Great.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Right. Today, what do you have for us?
Okay. Today, having taught for a while, I observed that students sometimes, when you follow their progress in the way they learn, some are doing very well. Some easily can manage to get 8 A's and all of that. Some too sometimes don't know how to learn, how to organize themselves when they have to learn to make 8 A's or maybe excellent grades. So I want to prescribe some cool ways of learning to be able to make 8 A's, if possible 7 A's or 6 A's. So some everyday activity they know but they have lost sight of it. So I want to share those ones.
Okay, so today you brought us to an educational pharmacy. And you are an educational pharmacy.
Exactly.
Alright, that's fine. Let's roll then.
Okay, so if you're preparing for examination, it shouldn't start when you are in the final year and you say I'm a candidate. No. Your preparation for examination starts the very time you enter first year of that institution. So for instance in SHS, when you come to SHS 1, your examination starts. The final one should start. So what I want to say is that the moment you get to SHS 1, you should have all the resource materials, especially when you are reading science. You should have textbook for physics, textbook for chemistry, textbook for biology, and textbook for e-math. Okay. And the ones recommended by the teacher teaching you, and also if there's a government approved ones, and other foreign books to support. That is one. Very important because it's important for you to make references and have a broad spectrum. And that is one. And then, you see, you should have this in mind that by second year, if you're a hard-working student, by second year, you should have covered about 90% of the syllabus for each of the subjects. And that is possible because you are being taught. And as a student too, and coming from fancy the background, we have what we call faithful 8 in our history. It's a case where we had only 8 students at a time. When one of the headmasters then, I think Bama was there. And then, because they were just 8 and teachers were not available, they could do their learning on their own. So that independence, in learning should be able to drive the student to say that I want to cover about 90% of the syllabus. How do you do it? Teachers are teaching you. You have these reference materials. You know the syllabus content. So what do? You learn in advance. So on your own, most of the items are written in English. The concept though little, but we have what we call learning by repetition. If you read again and again, trying to solve problems again and again, you'll be able to get to a point. That is one. That is two. Sorry.
Okay.
So we have mentioned the fact that get the resource materials. Get this mind that I want to cover about 90% of this level by second year. That means that by the time you get to third year, you almost have covered everything. Again, you should be a student who has this, that is in the school setting. There is the theory sections and then the practical sections. So, in Present, for instance, and that is why it's the science college, as you said, every week,
Science institution.
Sorry.
Thank you very much.
every week, you're supposed to be in the lab. If not weekly, every 2 weeks, you're supposed to be in the lab. And so you should be a student who is always in the lab when the class is going. Is that okay? If there's a schedule that you're supposed to be in the lab, be there. So you are punctual in the normal class, you are punctual in the lab sections.
Okay.
So that is being regular. That is, we call into mind the word discipline. That will also help you to get to that end. And again, you see, for the elective subjects, if you're not able to cover the 90%, at least by the time you are preparing for your mock, you should have covered 95% of the chemistry, if you are reading chemistry,
Okay.
physics, biology, and then e-math. But for core subject, by the time you are preparing for your mock, you should have covered everything. So that the time that you say, I am now a candidate, and then we are entering into WASI, and it's starting, you don't have to be worried because you're going back to revise for the first year. You have everything here. And so the joy for you who is done that is that you are so much prepared. So you are at ease, no pressure, and so 8 A's is guaranteed. And again, you see, we deal with teachers. You should be able to identify a particular teacher who has interest, okay, in the subject he's teaching. Most of the teachers would have that interest. But identify one particular teacher who is open, ready to assist the student, and try to go to the teacher for help, for explanation. It's also good. Sometimes some students are so introvert, and so they wouldn't want to go to the teacher. But it is something I will encourage and recommend, that try and get a teacher that you can go to. Again, if not the teacher, you can have friends in the class who are more detailed than you. So in present, we see that most of the head boys or most of the first years, they will target a Bela boy. It's true, you know it, you pass through it.
Yeah.
Most of them will target a Bela boy, and they will target a Bela boy. And so the Bela boy will be helping them
It's
to
a
learn.
romantic relationship.
You see that? And so that is the see, so sometimes some Bela boys will not even get 8 A's, but you see that other guys will get what? 8 A's. For all you know, they were taken from the shack, so to say. So it's also a thing or a point of consideration.
Okay.
I hope you're getting it. Now, again, we learn by 3 domains. We have what we call the psychomotor.
Okay.
We have what we call the affective. Okay, and then cognitive. So cognitive, psychomotor, and then what? Affective. Cognitive has to do with the mind. Having to gain the knowledge, the mind getting the facts, the concept, the principles. Is that okay? And then, so as you learn, you are trying to get that if I'm reading chemistry, because you know from my background, I always want to talk about chemistry. So you want to have the knowledge, the cognitive domain should be satisfied.
Yeah.
Then you look at what we call the psychomotor.
Okay.
That is the word, the skill, the technique. Getting the experience with the hand, you understand? Very good. So that's why you have to go to the lab
Okay.
for the psychomotor.
Okay.
Some students, by the time they are preparing for the WASI, and you know, chemistry, you have to do the WASI practicals, you sometimes will be surprised to see a student familiar with the setups. And that is because the person has failed to appreciate the word, the psychomotor.
Okay.
Then again, the affective.
Okay.
The affective is that, you see, when you have gotten the knowledge and you've gotten the word, the skill, if you don't appreciate what you have gotten, so appreciation of the skill, the knowledge, okay, so you can solve problems.
Right.
And that is the word, the affective. It drives the interest. I hope you understand.
Okay.
Very good. And so that is what I also encourage students, that anytime you are learning, make sure you are satisfying the 3 word domains. And then you are learning for life and learning for 8 A's. Then again, you see, we are learning by revision, learning by a new concept you've never met before. Is that okay? And by the revision, you can learn by reading your notes again in word again. I remember growing up, JHS, I told you some time ago that we did very well in our school. The technique I used was that we were giving notes almost every day when we go for science class. I read my science notes again and again and again and again. And so when the questions were asked in one of the terms, I almost reproduced everything in the book. And so you wouldn't get 90, but you get 100 sometimes. So revision is learning by repetition. The things you have learned from first year, don't tell yourself that I've read it 2, 3 times, 4 times. So you want to get a program. Read it again and again. Even if you've gotten it, make sure you're always reading it. That's why sometimes in our times we're learning by using the atomic board. Or this time you can use your jotter. You write the things again and again and again and again. And then as you do that one, the notes, then you are solving questions. So you should have a past question book as well. Relevant one, of course. Not the shallow one, so to say. So you have to do that one by repetition and solving past questions. And past questions will give you more challenge. Is that okay? Little challenges, and then you want to always overcome them. And then you also love to, and you would have to love to learn by experiencing new topics. Sometimes there is a topic we want to say it is a topic most students will not venture. Sometimes even teachers will, some teachers will not be able to boldly approach that topic. But you as a student, at the center of learning, at the center of affairs, wanting to get 8 A's. Is that okay? Yeah. To make it a medical school like we did. Right? Okay? You should always have the mind that whether I am taught or I'm not taught, I want to start reading about the new world topic. Okay. Like I said in the intro. So that's also another way of learning. With all of these, is it if you're a student and you are not respectful to your parents, to teachers, to colleagues, you will not get the blessing to be successful. Though sometimes it happens that yes, some students who are not so respectful sometimes will make the 8 A's. But as a parent, as a teacher, okay, and as friends to students, I always want to tell them that they should be able to respect every teacher. Don't discriminate. In PSEC, there is this here. Hey, this school, I love this school. If it comes to PSEC as a teacher, you should be able to fit. How? From whichever school you came, the students there are, so to say, those students were so familiar. So you could teach and manage your way out. But PSEC has spectrum of teachers, or that number of teachers. For chemistry, we have about 12 teachers or so. So when you are teaching in a class, because they might go for other attention, okay, from other teachers, they will mark what you are teaching. So sometimes some students will look down upon some more teachers because they feel that this teacher is not up to. But as a teacher, is able to fit. These are young ones we are training. Digital teacher, trained teacher, you should be able to. So the students, and what I'm telling them is that respect every teacher. We all have our strength. Don't discriminate. The one you might see at the top of the ladder, okay, might not be the best to fit at a point. Some teachers will teach and you will get it. Some teachers will always put the things on you. So respect every teacher by what he offers. See the positive in the teacher. Some teachers might not give details. Some teachers might shout on you because they want you to do the right thing. But appreciate all of them and grant them the respect. And the respect should not be just the teachers, your parents. You have the connection with your parents, the respect from your parents. Exactly, they will give you blessings. And obey school rules. Obey what? School rules.
The prospectus.
Yes, you understand. I realize that you kind of identify with all of this I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
yes, you see. And that's what actually I think, Charlie. So low wings. So that is it, right? Yeah. So with all of these, okay, I think you are managing your 8 A's already. Wow. And so that is a bit of issues, so real issues I can see for now. Then, okay, let me say this to summarize the way we learn to get 8 A's. Okay. Very critical. I didn't learn so much psychology, but there is this I know about theory of decay.
Okay.
You see, the mind, okay, the mind and the subconsciousness of the mind is such that when you get good information, correct information, okay, in your thoughts, the subconsciousness, and then you go and do other things like talking so much, talking about football, talking about girls, you know. The boys sometimes they do talk so much about girls, and then they so what happens that when you feed your mind with a good thing, then you are bringing other unwanted, okay, stuff also inside. Then impurities. Very good. Gradually, the good ones, okay, will be decaying because you are feeding the mind with more of the unwanted stuff. So when you want to avoid the theory of decay, make sure what you are feeding into your system, your mind, is relevant to what you have learned already. So in our time, for instance, we were having a problem with one of the subject, or I think almost I think physics. And one teacher we had in Fansibon, Mr. Thompson, now a Reverend Thompson, okay, he will see that if you are learning physics, talk it, read it, anything you can relate to it, do it with physics. And so we can talk physics, we can talk about biology in a funny way, in a way that will register into our system. You get it? So whatever you feed into your system, okay, it should not decay the good things there. And so students challenge you focus. If you are learning, learn. It's okay, you don't get other things and then you are always forgetting. Sometimes you want to remember a fact. The question is there. I've learned this thing. It's happened that you sometimes wouldn't want to let it go, but you can't remember. That is when theory of decay has well set. It's also critical for doing so well. Wow. That is it. So
that's great of you.
Yeah.
Which house were you in effect?
Battles need.
Battles
need middle floor.
Okay, so that's BS.
Yes.
Okay, so you name your houses with 2 letters. You name them most of them with.
That is how yeah, but the real name stands Battles need and Battles need. Okay. And then Bama, Sabapikos, yes, Lucas Schweizer, yes. Now we have Aboka Money, the Freeman Agri is there, and Picapaka. Yeah, those are the names, but I was with the Battlesnake guys.
Okay, that's great. Anyway, so we've learned something important here. We've learned about the affective part of the mind, we've learned about the cognitive, we've learned about the psychomotor. So these are the 3 things that we've learned so far: CAP, cognitive, affective, psychomotor. And then we've learned about the theory of decay. If you don't want your mind or what you've stored in your memory to decay, feed it with positive and relevant stuff related to what you have learned to prevent decay or substitution. This has been the Science Digest Show, brought to you by SMC Consult, So Much for Christ, EPP Books Services, trust them for all your books, Advocate Healthcare, located at Lakeside Estate, Brainwork Educational Consult at North Legon, Professional Bread Makers, also at North Legon, and Meditouch Physiotherapy, located at Tema, opposite the Women's World Bank, in the same building with Mabito Clinic. Join us and make a date the next time when we bring you a subject area or a topic in chemistry with the same Seyok. Se is on Yok. Thank you and bye.